Paging all Wii owners, this is a game you need to try, STAT. This is Trauma Team for the Nintendo Wii, a game perhaps best described as General Hospital meets some of the best damn controls on the system. Now, before I go on and on about why Trauma Team is one of the year's best on Wii, I think it's important that we start up our flux capacitors for a moment and briefly revisit November 19th, 1955. I mean, 2006, when, if you recall, there was a fair amount of hype regarding this Nintendo Wii. Something about a revolution that would dramatically change the way we play and experience video games for the remainder of eternity. Sadly, precious few games have delivered on the Wii's lofty pre-launch rhetoric, but Trauma Center is one of them. This is one Nintendo exclusive series that has always shined because of its controls and not in spite of them. And although much has changed for its latest sequel, Trauma Team, that has not. Like previous Trauma Center Wii games, Trauma Team is a surgery simulator, which admittedly sounds pretty lame, but actually the concept translates to a top-notch gaming experience. The game simplifies complex medical procedures to a series of point-and-click gameplay mechanics that rely on quickness, precision, and a steady hand. The game's controls make speed and accuracy a breeze, but given the overwhelming pressure of having a person's life in your hands, keeping them steady can be a real challenge.
Before it leaks. Tumor excisions inside. Street the rest too.
Now, if you're a fan of the series, you should recognize some of these surgeries, like removing embedded glass from a patient's leg or excising hemorrhaging tumors. That kind of stuff has been a part of the Trauma Center series for years. But Trauma Team separates itself from its predecessors with the sheer scope of the procedures it includes.
How did you know how to treat those things?
I don't know. Black bruise. I've seen it somewhere.
Where would you see something that weird before?
Let's finish the operation. Get the antibiotic gel ready.
Well, players choose between one of 6 medical professionals, each of whom completely changes the way Trauma Center plays. So the game actually feels like 6 unique Trauma Center games in one. For example, there's a general surgeon whose levels are pretty much standard Trauma Center operations, but there's also an orthopedic surgeon who works mostly with bones. There's a sexy, yet royally bitchy EMT who treats injured patients on site. There's even a diagnostician who changes Trauma Team into a full-blown, traditionally styled point-and-click adventure game of questioning patients and figuring out a diagnosis.
Maria Torres here. Oh, hey, Chief.
Maria, a fire's broken out on 14th. Get there and hurry.
Why are you calling me? I'm off duty.
So, no matter which character you play as, the game offers a new experience. Even after you finish one character's portion, Trauma Team still feels fresh because the next one is so different.
Huh? I got it. Wait, I'll help you.
Case.
Oh, yeah, this is totally a textbook procedure. Shut the hell up. Distractions, etc. I'll get them all out of here, so don't worry. You're not staring at me. The writer?
In fact, sometimes they're a little too different. And I'm talking mainly about the diagnostic and medical forensics segments. Now, granted, they play well enough, and analyzing clues to diagnose a patient or solve a medical mystery can be engaging, but it just doesn't feel like Trauma Center. That'd be like, hey, let's put in FPS deathmatch mode into Nintendogs.
Patient's breathing pretty rapidly.
It just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, I appreciate the attempt to diversify the series, especially when some have called prior Trauma Center games a bit repetitive. But the bottom line is, Trauma Team is at its thrilling best when it's mimicking ER, not CSI. Fortunately for those of you with a PHWii, In Surgery Simulation, Trauma Team features plenty of emergency situations sure to sharpen your scalpel. 4 of the 6 characters still make a living in the OR, although in slightly different capacities. So for example, arriving at an accident, the EMT has to attend to multiple patients simultaneously, using little more than gauze and some splints, and you have to switch between the wounded and prioritize which patients to mend first. It's a really clever twist on the traditional Trauma Center formula, and each of the other 3 surgery-performing characters brings new ideas to the table as well.
I was called here because you obviously couldn't handle...
Well, obviously, a lot has changed in Trauma Team, but the controls haven't. And that's tremendous news for all of us, because since the day the Wii launched, I've thought Trauma Center's controls have made some of the most convincing arguments for the revolutionary nature of Nintendo's system, and they're just as good in Trauma Team. So here's how it works. You select a surgical tool with the analog stick on the nunchuck, and you can use that tool by pointing at the screen with the Wii Remote. So push northwest on the analog stick and the pointer becomes a scalpel. Push down and it becomes a surgical laser, and so on and so on. And you'll have to switch between these instruments on the fly. It's every bit as precise and speedy as virtual surgery demands, and when you fully grasp the game's controls, you'll be shocked at how quickly and accurately you can control Trauma Team.
It's going well.